My mom said, "I know you paid $720,000 to save our house, but we're giving it to your sister as her wedding gift." Then my sister chimed in, "And don't bother coming to the wedding." My name is Jerry. I'm 36 years old. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, the one everyone in my family calls when a knee pops or a shoulder clicks. I fix rotator cuffs and hip fractures for a living. I'm good at it. I'm the steady one. The insurance policy. The person who always shows up when something breaks. And that's exactly why my own mother thought she could stand up at Sunday dinner, announce she was giving away the house I'd saved to my sister as a wedding gift, and expect me to just applaud. But what she didn't know was that I had a secret. A silent, ironclad truth that I'd kept for years. And when I smiled, a smile that wasn't warm, and said, "Dad, should I tell them or will you?" his fork dropped onto the plate with a small, honest sound. That was the first crack in their perfect reality. That was just the beginning. Sunday dinner was roast chicken, cheap red wine, and a script my mom had already written. My dad poked at his plate like the peas held dark secrets. My sister, Emma, 28, the golden child of our household, kept glancing at her engagement ring, letting it catch the light, a performative sparkle. Mom didn't clear her throat. She didn't soften anything. She just laid her napkin down like a judge setting her gavel and said, "I know you spent $720,000 to save our house, but we are signing the house to your sister as a wedding gift." The room shifted. The AC kicked on. I heard the ice machine in the fridge, but the loudest sound was the ringing in my ears. Emma smirked, leaned back, added, "And don't come to my wedding. It's for immediate family and people who don't make everything about themselves." My fork hovered over mashed potatoes. I could feel my pulse hammering in the handle. I smiled. It wasn't warm. "Dad," I said, my voice unnervingly even. "Should I tell them or will you?" His fork dropped. It hit the porcelain with a small, honest sound. Mom frowned. "Tell us what?" Emma widened her eyes, a masterclass in performative innocence. "What is this, Jerry? Another lecture?" I watched my dad's jaw tighten. The muscles fluttered. He stared at the table, at his fallen fork. The silence in the room had weight, pressing down on us all. "Nothing," he said finally, his voice flat, too fast. "There's nothing to tell." "Okay," I said, sliding my chair back. It screeched against the floor. "Then I'll tell it." That was the first crack. The night didn't end there. It was just where the mask started to slip. I grew up in this house, the one with the warped porch step and the azalea bushes my grandfather planted. Dad worked at the auto parts warehouse until his back gave out. Mom did everything and nothing. PDA church bake sales and the kind of gossip that sounded like concern. Emma was the prodigy. Piano, speech team, a trail of ribbons on the corkboard in the hallway, a constant reminder of her triumphs. I was the kid with flashcards and calluses on my hands from scrubbing dishes at the diner after school. Medicine wasn't glamorous for me. Pre-med meant 2 jobs, a busted Honda with no heat, and a coffee addiction that probably shaved years off my life. In residency, I slept in call rooms that smelled like bleach and fear, haunted by the knowledge that lives depended on me. My first year as an attending physician was a blur of bones and budgets. I learned to build a life the way I set a fracture. Line up what's crooked, hold it steady, let it heal. The family dynamic never healed. It calcified. Mom's favorite line, "We raised you, you owe us." It changed shape depending on the bill. Property taxes, the new roof, Emma's tuition, Emma's car insurance, the emergency plumber who turned out to be a cousin doing us a favor. Every ask came with a compliment I was supposed to swallow like bitter medicine. "You're so successful now, Jerry." "It's nothing to you." Dad didn't ask. He just looked tired. When the warehouse let him go, he stopped meeting my eyes. He started calling me Doc, like it was a joke that didn't quite land, a reminder of what he'd lost and what I'd become. Emma never asked either. She demanded, "Venmo me for the LSAT class." It's basically investing in the family. You want a lawyer in the family, right? When she didn't get into law school, the story changed. Okay, MBA better. Anyway, when she dropped out, the story changed again. Wedding planning is a full-time job. Years ago, when the recession hit and the adjustable rate mortgage my parents should never have taken spiked, the house started sinking. Mom called me, her voice thick with manufactured tears. "They'll take our home. Jerry, your father will die if he has to move." I was on trauma call. I just scrubbed out from a femur nail. Sweaty, hungry, and stupidly hopeful, I said, "I'll fix it." I wired the money. $720,000. Over time. First to stop the foreclosure sale, then to clear the liens, then to pay off the second mortgage I didn't know existed. It wasn't one check. It was a drip of crisis. Sheriff sale date, hey. Contractor lien, hey. Delinquent taxes, hey. Every transfer was meticulously labeled in my bank app. I took screenshots the way we take intra-op fluoros, proof of alignment. My thumbs learned the rhythm of my bank's 2-factor code. At first, there were acknowledgments. Mom texted heart emojis and photos of the azaleas blooming. Dad sent a thumbs up. Emma posted a selfie on the porch, home sweet home. Family forever. No tag, no credit. The credit came in other ways. Shifts I didn't take. Vacations I canceled. A ring I didn't buy for a woman who eventually got tired of me choosing drama and left. My colleagues joked about my mystery mortgage. I joked back because the other option was to admit I was financing my family's denial. Then the ask sharpened. Emma's fiancé, Zach, slid into the family group chat like he'd always lived there. "Hey big bro," he wrote, casual as you please. "Can we move the wedding to the house? It's a vibe. Saves costs, you know, since you've got it covered." Mom added, "Isn't that a lovely idea? We could host the rehearsal dinner too." I typed and erased for 10 minutes and then wrote, "Let's talk after I get out of surgery." By then I'd learned to keep receipts. The deed. The note I'd written to myself the night I wired the big one. The notarized agreement Dad signed 2 years ago when I told him I couldn't keep paying without clarity. We'd sat at the kitchen table, same table as the Sunday dinner, and he'd finally met my eyes. "I messed up," he said, his voice flat. "I kept taking out loans to keep your mother happy. I didn't tell you because telling me would make him the villain. Because asking would make me say no. I told him I'd pay the arrears and the mortgage if the house transferred to an LLC I controlled. And I'd let them live there rent-free as long as they paid utilities and didn't encumber the property again. It wasn't an eviction. It was oxygen." He signed. We filed. The county clerk stamped it. I have a photo of the green stamp on my phone. I didn't tell Mom. He didn't either. He said, "She'll never forgive me if she finds out I lost the house." "You didn't lose the house," I said. "I saved it for all of us." He nodded. "And we kept the secret like a bad splint. Something that holds but not well. The emotional unpaid labor piece is harder to itemize, but I can. The midnight calls, Emma needs a deposit for the venue. The 6 a.m. calls, the water heater died. The way Mom would call me selfish if I paused. All that money and no wife. What are you even doing with it? Do you want us homeless? Every no I tried to practice came out as a yes, because no one else could carry it and I couldn't watch them drown. The small breaking moment came 2 months before that Sunday dinner. I found out because a notary called me by accident. "Hi, this is Denise from Mobile Sign," she said. "Just confirming the deed gift tonight. Transferring 114 Remington to Emma and Zach." I was in clinic, 3 patients behind. I stared at the x-ray on my screen like it could answer for me. "I think you have the wrong number," I said, but I already knew she didn't. I called Dad. He didn't pick up. I texted him a photo of the stamped deed to the LLC with a simple line, "We need to talk." He wrote back one word, "Tonight." We sat in the garage, the place he hides to smoke cigars when Mom's mad. He couldn't look at me. "She wants it," he said. "She said you'd understand that you'd be happy for your sister." "It's not yours to give," I said. He rubbed his forehead. "You'll make this ugly if you tell her. You already made it ugly by keeping her in the dark." He didn't answer, so I waited. I let him decide if he'd tell Mom the truth. He didn't. He let her build her gift in her head like a gazebo. He let Emma pick wallpaper on Pinterest. He let Zach measure the backyard for a tent. And then Mom invited me to dinner to announce the present I was supposed to applaud. Mom's voice had that brittle brightness, a practiced cheer. "It's symbolic, Jerry. Family continuity. Your grandfather left this house to us and now we pass it to your sister. That's how families work." Emma crossed her arms. "It's not like you need a house. You practically live at the hospital." Zach shrugged like a man on a couch enjoying a show. "We'll take good care of it, bro." I pulled out my phone. Opened the photos. The album called House, the one with scans, records, wire confirmations. I put the phone on the table between the salt shaker and the pepper grinder. The first photo, the county record, Remington Place deed, recorded grantee, our home LLC. The second, the notarized occupancy agreement. The third, the bank transfers. April 4th, $185,000. June 19th, $152,000. September 1st, $210,000. A stack of smaller ones like stitches holding a wound together. Mom blinked at the screen, then up at me. "What is this?" "The reality," I said. "I paid. I recorded the deed. Dad signed an occupancy agreement. The house is in an LLC. I own the LLC. You live here rent-free. You don't get to give it away." Emma laughed, too loud, a brittle, disbelieving sound. "That's fake. You made a fake thing." She tapped the glass with her nail like she could smudge the county seal. Dad said nothing. His silence arrived like a third, unwanted person at the table. "Dad," I said softly. "Please." He inhaled. The kind of breath you take before anesthesia. "It's true," he said, eyes still on the table. "Jerry saved the house. It's his." It took a second to land. Mom's mouth opened, closed, opened. You went behind my back." "I saved our home," I said, keeping my hands flat on the table because I could feel them shaking. "I let you stay because you're my parents. But you don't get to pretend it's yours to give to Emma like a favor with my name erased." Emma's voice shot sharp, disbelief curdling into rage. So, you're stealing our inheritance? It wasn't an inheritance, I said. It was a foreclosure. It was 2 liens. It was 6 years of me choosing you over vacations, over relationships, over sleep. Zach muttered. Man, this is so dramatic, like he was at a movie he didn't like. Mom tried the old tool. Look at you, she said, tears conjured instantly, throwing it in our faces. After everything we did. After I raised you. After you asked me for another $3,200 last week for utilities that were really a deposit for Emma's venue? My voice didn't rise. No more. The house is safe. You can live here under the agreement you signed. You cannot transfer it. And if you try, I'll get an injunction. I've already retained counsel. Emma stood up, her chair scraping across the floor. You're not invited to my wedding. I looked at her, then at Dad. You were going to sign it anyway, weren't you? He closed his eyes. I didn't know how to tell her. Get out. Mom slammed her hand on the table. Get out. Gladly, I said. I'll be by tomorrow with the lease addendum we talked about, Dad. Utilities in your name. No events at the house. That includes weddings. Emma laughed again, a high-pitched, hysterical sound. You can't stop me. Try me, I said, and left before my hands could show how much they were shaking. I slept badly. It felt like post-op when a simple case bleeds and you don't see it until recovery. I kept replaying the dinner, the sound of Dad's fork hitting the plate. I kept thinking about the girl I didn't marry because there was always some new family emergency. In the morning, the family group chat lit up. Mom, you made your father sick. Emma, you're unhinged. Zach's parents, we're ungrateful. Zach, lawyers all. Dad sent nothing. The silence again. I drove to the house with the lease addendum and a bag of bagels because I'm ridiculous like that. Dad met me in the driveway, hands in pockets like a kid caught shoplifting. She won't sign, he said. She says it's an insult. It's a boundary, I said. Utilities, no events. If you want to keep living here, you follow the rule we set 2 years ago. He nodded, then squinted at the paper like the words kept moving. She's planning the rehearsal dinner for the backyard, he confessed. She says you can't stop a family celebration. I can. And I will. Mom opened the door. No solicitors, she said to me and shut it again. Dad winced. I didn't leave the paper. I emailed it instead. I CC'd the attorney who'd filed the deed. I turned off autopay on their cable and the catch-all family card I'd stupidly let Emma use for emergencies. I kept the mortgage handled because it was mine now, but I cut the pipeline everyone assumed was infinite. The next week was quiet except for crickets. Emma posted bridal shower photos. Grateful for my tribe. Mom posted a Bible verse about forgiveness with a caption that wasn't subtle. Some sons repay love with cruelty. Then came the rehearsal week scramble. A stranger called me from a 917 number. Hi, is this the owner of 114 Remington? The voice asked. I'm from Evergreen Tents. We're just confirming lawn stakes. We'll be there Friday at 9 o'clock. Cancel, I said. No events. The tenants are not authorized to schedule rentals. If you need documentation, email me. I gave the address. 10 minutes later, I sent the signed occupancy agreement. I CC'd Dad. I did not apologize. Emma called immediately. I let it go to voicemail. She texted, You petty little man. You're ruining my wedding. Then, you owe me. You owe us. Then, I swear on everything. You will regret this. I went for a run and silenced my phone. At mile 3, a resident paged me about a tibial plateau. At mile 4, the sky looked like rain. The rehearsal day came. No tents arrived. Emma posted a story of the backyard with a caption, Haters can't stop love. They strung cafe lights instead. Fine. The lease said, no events over 20 people. They had 32. I counted in the video. I did not send a notice. I'm not a monster. I am a man who finally understands the difference between holding a boundary and scoring a point. Wedding day, Saturday. The plan, from what Emma had bragged about, was church at noon, photos at our childhood home. My stomach turned at the phrasing, then a downtown venue. At 11:30 a.m., I scrubbed out of a quick wrist. My phone buzzed, then buzzed again, then went static with vibration. I set it face down and checked the or note. When I flipped it, the screen read like a slot machine. Mom, Dad, unknown, Emma. 12 missed calls became 21, then 49, then 60, stacked like dominoes. I didn't answer. I'm not proud. I just didn't. A text preview slid across the top. Mom, Jerry, please answer. Police are here. Another Dad, it's about the house. Please. My chest went cold. I stepped into the hall and called Dad. He picked up on the first ring, breathing like he'd run. She called the cops, he said without hello. On you? What? She told the photographer the house was hers. The photographer set up in the living room. The neighbors complained about the cars on the lawn again. The patrol came. They asked who owned the property. Emma said we did. Mom said we did. I finally said your LLC did. The officer asked for proof. Emma told him you were lying to ruin her day. He called dispatch. They pulled the county record and well, now there's an officer here saying the homeowner says no photos, no event unless the owner permits. The officer wants to talk to you. There are moments in surgery where you have 30 seconds to decide, and the decision determines everything. Plate or nail. Cast or cut. This felt like that. I'm not coming, I said. Tell the officer he has my email. I'll send him the occupancy agreement and a written note allowing you and Mom to live there and have up to 20 guests as agreed. No commercial shoots, no wedding parties. That was always the rule. He can enforce it if the crowd exceeds that. Jerry, Dad whispered. Shame and relief tangled. I'm sorry. I wrote the email. 2 PDFs attached. I CC'd Dad. I hit send. Then I turned my phone back over and went to see my post-ops because bones do not wait for drama. At 3:12 p.m., Emma texted me a photo of her in her gown on the curb in front of the house. Mascara running, middle finger up. You ruined this. I looked at her face, the girl who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during thunderstorms, and I felt something painful and clean. I typed, I didn't ruin anything. I told the truth and enforced a boundary. You chose a lie and an audience. No reply. That night Dad called again. They started late, he said, voice softer. They moved photos to the church. It was tense. Your mother didn't talk to me for 2 hours. Zach's parents said, we're ungrateful. Emma says she never wants to see you again. Pause. The officer asked if I wanted a copy of the county record. I said, yes, I think I needed to see it in my hands. I'm sorry it was today, I said. I'm sorry it had to be at all, he said. I slept like I hadn't in years. A week later the azaleas were still blooming. The cafe lights were still up, swinging a little in the wind. I pulled into the driveway not to fight, not to gloat, but to drop off a manila folder labeled simply, what living here means. Mom didn't answer the door. Dad did. He looked older but lighter, as if putting down the suitcase of a lie can make you taller. He led me to the kitchen. No roast chicken, no stage. Just coffee. He poured 2 cups and pushed one toward me. She thinks you humiliated her, he said. She says you made a scene. I didn't show up, I said and smiled without humor. That was the point. He nodded. I told her the truth. Humiliated us, not you. The folder held the same things as the email, the occupancy agreement, a simple lease for $1 a year because I'm dramatic like that. A 1-page list. Utilities in their name, lawn care their responsibility, no events over 20 guests, no alterations without consent, no liens, no loans, no signatures on anything with the address unless I sign too. Consequences clear. 2 written warnings, then termination of occupancy. Not threats. Boundaries. I can't sign for her, Dad said. I'm not asking you to, I said. I'm asking you to sign for you. He did. The pen shook. I didn't comment. When I stood to leave, Mom appeared in the doorway, arms folded. You're proud of yourself, she said. No, I said. I'm done with myself. With who I become in this house. An ATM with a stethoscope. She scoffed. You'll regret this when we're gone and there's no family left. I'll regret not stopping sooner, I said. I'll regret the years I missed because I was on hold for a plumber who wasn't real. I don't regret telling the truth. Emma didn't reach out. Zach unfriended me like we were in high school. My phone weirdly was quiet. In the silence I noticed things. Morning light in my apartment. The taste of coffee. I didn't gulp it between calls. Laughter with colleagues that wasn't weight-bearing. I started saying no at work too. I stopped taking every open call to help out. I saw a movie on a Tuesday. I texted a woman I'd met a month earlier and apologized for disappearing. We went for ramen. I took 2 weekends away to hike. My shoulders unclenched like someone finally cut the suture hidden under my skin. 2 months later, an envelope arrived in my mailbox, handwritten, no return address. Inside was a photo. My dad on the porch holding a rake, grinning a little. The azaleas behind him. On the back, in his blocky print, paid the water bill on time. Fixed the step. It didn't kill me. A week after that, I got a text from a number I didn't have saved. It was Emma. House looks nice, she wrote. We're moving to an apartment closer to Zach's job. Cheaper, smaller, fine. Then after a pause so long I thought that was it. I was angry because I thought I was owed. I don't know how to be anything else here. I'm not apologizing. Another pause. Yeah. I didn't dance. I didn't sprint to the porch. I typed, I hope you build something that's yours. She heart reacted, which is the most Emma thing possible. Mom still posts verses. Some pointed, some not. We're civil when we need to be. I don't fix their internet anymore. I don't wire money. When Dad tries to slip cash into my pocket for coffee, I let him. He needs to feel like a father. I need to let him. Here's what I learned. And it's not profound, but it's mine. Love without boundaries is just guilt with better lighting. Being the steady one doesn't mean carrying everyone. It means setting the bone straight and letting the body do its work even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. My mom said, "We're signing the house to your sister." My sister said, "Don't come to my wedding." I said, "Dad, should I tell them or will you?" His fork dropped and the truth landed. The calls came, 60 of them. I didn't answer. I answer to myself now. And the house is finally just a house. Not a hostage. Not a trophy. A place with a lease on the fridge. A fixed porch step. Azaleas that bloom whether we deserve them or not. I won't be their bank. I won't be their villain. I won't be their hero either. I'll be Jerry. And that's enough. It's strange how quiet peace is. No one tells you that. You imagine it'll feel like fireworks or loud music or some grand celebration. But for me, peace sounded like no one asking me for money. No one calling me selfish. No one sending long texts with, "Since you're the only one doing well." Just silence. Glorious. Uninterrupted silence. 3 months have passed since the night I blew everything up. 3 months since the investigation started. Since my family stared at me in shock as agents walked through their front door and reality finally punched through years of delusion. They say you can't choose your family. Maybe that's true. But you can choose how much of yourself you're willing to lose trying to keep them happy. And I was done losing. The fallout came fast. Sarah and Zach tried damage control. First, a lawyer emailed my attorney offering to privately resolve the situation. No apology. No ownership. Just damage control. I told my lawyer, let it burn. A week later, Mom sent a letter. 10 pages. Her handwriting still neat, but trembling in parts. She wrote about how things got out of hand. How they never meant to hurt me. How she hoped I could see the bigger picture. "We just assumed you'd always be there," she wrote. That's what good sons do. That line stuck with me because it said everything. Not "we were wrong." Not "you didn't deserve that." Just, "you were supposed to stay quiet and keep giving." I didn't write back. I didn't call. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty about it. I moved. New apartment. New state. No more accidental drop-ins from relatives. No more surprise visits from Sarah. I even changed my number. My boss, noticing how focused I'd become, offered me a promotion. I took it. It's funny how much better you perform at work when you're not secretly juggling your sister's car payments and your mom's overdue utility bills behind the scenes. I sleep better now. I eat better. I breathe better. Because I'm no longer carrying 4 people on my back who refuse to say thank you. Then one morning, a letter showed up. No return address. Inside, a check for $1,200 and a handwritten note. I left him. You were right. I was scared. But watching what you did, it gave me the courage to walk away too. This is for everything you paid for. Ellie. For the tablet. The rent. The clothes. I know Seth never thanked you. But I am. Thank you for being the example I needed. Kelly. I read it twice. Then I cried. Not out of sadness. Not out of pain. But because for the first time, someone in that family saw me. Not as a wallet. Not as a scapegoat. But as a person. People ask me sometimes, do you regret it? And the answer is simple, no. I regret waiting so long. I regret every sleepless night, every canceled vacation, every tight budget I lived under while they dined out, shopped, and posted about grateful family vibes on Instagram. I regret the way I made myself small so they could feel big. I regret all the times I stayed silent when I should have said, "You're crossing a line." But do I regret standing up? Burning it down? Never. My therapist once asked me, "Why did it take you so long to say no?" And I said, "Because I thought that saying no meant I didn't love them." She nodded. Saying no is how you teach people to love you back. I've never forgotten that. A few days ago, I ran into someone from high school. She said, "Hey, I saw what happened with your family. That's wild." I expected judgment or pity. But instead, she smiled and added, "Good for you. Most people never get out." I thanked her. Then I walked away feeling a little taller. Sarah and Zach are still under investigation. Last I heard, Zach lost his job. Sarah's bank account was frozen. Mom's trying to refinance the house and Dad's apparently blaming outside influence for tearing the family apart. They still don't get it. I didn't tear anything apart. I just stopped pretending the pieces were still whole. Sometimes I get flashbacks of that night. The table. Sarah laughing as I checked my account. Zach grinning like it was a joke. Mom brushing it off. "You don't need that money," she said. And now they know the truth. That money wasn't just money. It was my life. My time. My health. My boundaries. And they crossed them for years like it meant nothing. Now they pay the price. I don't celebrate their downfall, but I celebrate myself for surviving it. For walking away. For not going back even when the silence felt lonely. Even when the guilt whispered in my ear like it used to. Because that silence? It's freedom. So, if you're reading this and you've been the strong one, the responsible one, the good son, or good daughter, who's expected to pay and never say a word, let me tell you what I wish someone told me. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to walk away. And when you do, you don't lose a family. You find yourself. That was quite a story, huh? What do you think about Jerry's decision? Was he too harsh, or did his family finally get what they deserved? Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with your own family? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to hear your thoughts and experiences.